What's good, family? It's your man, Mr. Vincent M. Nash. Family, entrepreneurship, real estate, motivation. That's what I'm all about. That's what I'm here to talk about. I'm super amped today. I wanted to specifically do this content on this day because today, my friends, is closing day. That's right. Closing day for your boy. I'm really excited. I'm really proud of the hard work that we put in to get here. I'm closing on a 15-unit rooming house, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it. But it got me to thinking about what I do to analyze a property, because it was through my analysis of the property that I chose to put an offer in on what happened to be a rooming house. And I had no idea what I was getting into, but I'm glad I did it. The work has been done. Here we are at closing day. It's a rose kind of a day. It's a rose kind of a day, which is why I got the campaign going on over here. But I want to sit down and just share with you how I analyze a property. So when I'm ready to acquire a property, okay, the first thing that I look at, and this is, let me just say this. This is what I do, and I'm keeping this very simple. So this is analysis for beginners. When you start to get into bigger commercial multifamily units, 50, 100 units, you know, you'll look at different things like cap rates, cash on cash return on investment, a little bit more complex ways and benchmarks to analyze the property. But I'm talking about when you just getting started, and I still consider myself a newbie, even though I am 35 units in the game right now. I still consider myself a newbie. I have a long way to go. As a newbie, when you sit down and analyze a property, so you're in the mode, I'm ready to get a property, I'm ready to bring it on home, get in the game, become the man in the arena. The first thing that I look at is the number of units. That's the first thing I look at, is the number of units. The reason I say that, and I guess I'm going to preface this by saying, we are very goal-oriented at Nash Enterprises. So when I first started 3 years ago, a very aggressive and large goal to me was 100 units. That was a very large goal. So I cut that in half, and I gave myself about 3 to 4 years to do it. But I had a specific goal, 50 units. I wanted to acquire 50 units by the end of 2022. So that is my North Star, the 50 units. From there, my strategy plays out. So at this particular point in time of my investing career, I knew I started with one single family home. I then went to a duplex. I then went to a 4-unit. I got up to a 5-unit, and I knew I wanted to go big. I wanted to add to get to my 50-unit goal. So I came in the game looking at 8 units. And what I'm going to do here is everything that I show you or I say you should use in your analysis, I'm going to show you how it played into my purchase, which led me to the 15-unit rooming house. So the first thing I looked at was the number of units. And this particular rooming house had 15 units. Now, 15 units for me was right in the park of where I'd like to be. I really was looking at 8 units because 8 units were going for about 400 to 500,000, 600,000. This plays into your budget, but I didn't want to start with budget. So you'll see budget come later. So I knew that 15 units fit within my strategy of wanting to accumulate 50. 50 by the end of this year, and I was at about 20 or so, if I kept going twos and twos and twos, unless I did a huge purchase where I could bring in multiple duplexes, it was going to take a while. So mentally, I was starting to prepare for at least 8 units, hopefully up to 16 units. So when I saw that this particular property had 15 units, it got the thumbs up. My next criteria that I think a newbie should look at when analyzing a property after, okay, is it the number of units that I'm looking for? The second would be, number 2, the type of project. And what I mean by that, is it a rehab or is it rent ready? Is it a rehab or is it rent ready? What do I need to do to this property to get it to the point where it can perform and bring in the revenue that I want it to bring in? So you may find a property that has a great price, but it's going to need 50 to 100,000 in renovation. Thus, you need to understand how to do renovation, how to get and work with contractors, how to create scope of work, those types of deals. Sometimes people don't want to do rehabs. A lot of times people want something you can just rent ready. So I look at that. So when I look at the property, I look at the number of units, I say, is it a rehab project or is it rent ready? In this particular instance, I actually was mentally ready to jump into a rehab. I haven't done a rehab yet, and you really need to be prepared and know what you're doing before you jump into a detailed rehab. I've been in the business 2.5 years. I was ready, if need be, to jump into a rehab, but this particular property was immaculate. It's immaculate. So I looked at the number of units. It's 15 units. I looked at the property. It's immaculate. It had, got new siding, new roof. It was zoned to be a rooming house. Everything was perfect. I didn't have to do anything. So this was a project that I definitely could take on, a rent-ready project. So that was the second thing. Okay, so we go to the next criteria. The third thing that I look at is the area. So I look at the area and I ask myself, do I want to own a rental property in this particular area? And to let you know a little bit about me, I started out in the hood. I own hood properties. I own F neighborhood properties. I don't have a qualm about where that property is, because I know in my market of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, especially on the north side, I can get it rented. Okay, it's not a lot of vacancies. I don't have a problem renting in the hood, so the area was great. This particular area for my rooming house was in near downtown, not far from the lake. It's a really bustling area, a really vibrant area, a really diverse area. I actually was very happy to finally not have a hood property and to be able to move into something that might be more labeled as a C or a B class neighborhood than a D or a F. So I got a thumbs up on the area. And finally, the fourth thing I look at is the price. Now, the reason I look at the price is because I happen to, after having done a number of deals in my market with my financial institution, I have an idea of exactly what my mortgage or my debt cost will be. So that plays into the price. That's why you look at the price. Because ultimately, and I'm gonna put this at the top, once I check off these 4 units, type of project, area, and price, I'm going to find out, does it cash flow? And that is going to be found out for my price. My price here ended up being $395,000. So that's $395K. And I know that on the $395K mortgage, I am going to be paying approximately $1,900 a month. $1,900 a month. So I looked at these 4 things. The number of units, 15. Type of project, area price. Now, I know what my debt cost is gonna be. Why was I so geeked about 15 units, you might ask? Because 15 units, and I requested a rent roll, came out to $7,120 in rent. I collect $7,120 in rent, but my mortgage is $1,900. Booyah! I done messed up it. Lord have mercy, I done messed it up. That's how I felt. I ain't gonna lie. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. I was like 15 units because 15 units typically, if you look on MLS in my market, you're paying 1.2 million. So I'm like 15 units. And I jumped in, put the offer in. So now I'm gonna tell you a little story. I had no idea what a rooming house was or what I was going to have to do to be approved to run a rooming house. And I'm very proud of my team because in such a competitive market, we were able to identify the property, check out the property, submit an offer the same day, cash, get it accepted. Then I spent an additional 2 months going back and forth with the Department of Neighborhood Services in the city of Milwaukee to make sure that I was properly zoned and had the licensing and approval to run a rooming house. And boy, oh boy, was that a journey. I was just one foot after the other. Whatever they asked me to do next, an electrical inspection, a construction inspection, a plumbing inspection, approval from my alderman. I had to get approval from a council. I had to get approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals, the permit supervisor to sign off, the head of the department to sign off. I've never been in City Hall so much in my life. I feel like an employee. And I say it's indicative to life because I can see how usually people probably decide I want to do a rooming house. They get the necessary approvals, licenses, and then they create it. And if you know what you have to go through, I can see people putting doubt in their own minds. And this is what we often do. Information is not as valuable as application. So we learn about things and this is what I have to do, and we get discouraged because it seems like a lot. And even with real estate investing, so many people want to invest in real estate and they watch YouTube videos and they watch Grant Cardone and Robert Kiyosaki, but they never actually submit that offer and get their first property. And same with this rooming house. I just bought the rooming house and I figured it out afterwards. You know, it's almost, it puts pressure on you because you bought the rooming house, you submitted the offer, you're under contract, you got earnest money down, but now you have to complete the process so that I was approved. And that's indicative to life. Don't wait. You know, just do it. Just do it. You have to get in the game. You have to become that man in the arena. So, you know, this is Vincent M. Nash. I just wanted to talk to you about how I analyze properties because as a newbie, the most important thing is, does it cash flow? Does it cash flow? And you can find that out through looking at how many units it has. That's going to tell you how much you're going to get in rent. Look at the type of project. You know, does it take a lot of work or is it ready? Is the area something that you can work with? And then finally, the price. So the rent that's coming from these units, how substantially more is it than the cost of the debt to actually acquire it, okay? And I wish you all well. I do this so that I can help others. As I learn, I want to teach. And if you like this content, please hit the subscribe button. Please leave a message. Let me know what you got going on. It's Mr. Vincent M. Nash. It's my closing day, and this weekend is going to be lit. Yeah!